Got a haircut today, so that's real exciting news. Shout out to Mariko. But that's not what this video is about. I want to talk about growth versus fixed mindset. Damn, it looked different. Kind of didn't realize that until now. Growth versus fixed mindset is a concept that I came upon, hello Dee, from a book called Mindset, written by an author, Carol Dweck, and I believe she's a psychologist by profession. So the difference between a growth and a fixed mindset, a growth mindset is somebody that looks at a obstacle or a challenge and sees it as something that you can push through. You know, like an example would be if you take a test and you fail the test, growth mindset would be like, okay, well, I know that if I put more work into my studies, I can do better on the next test. A fixed mindset, in the same situation, they maybe put a lot of work into the test, they fail, they're going to think, wow, I'm just not good at this subject. So I'm sure you can tell the difference between outcomes there. And obviously, human thinking isn't always that black and white, and you can actually have a growth mindset about some things in your life and have a fixed mindset about other things. But according to the author who's done a lot of research into this, there are people, basically a lot of people have generally a growth mindset, and some people generally have a fixed mindset. So a fixed mindset person would maybe be put off more by obstacles and challenges, or just feel like, well, I'm not this way, it's just not meant to be, so maybe I'm going to go do something else. Whereas a growth mindset person, maybe they see an obstacle or they've had a lot of failure in some endeavor, and they're just like, well, I know I have the capacity to get past this, I just have to put more work in, or maybe there's something I'm missing. And obviously a growth mindset is something that is going to be much more likely to bring you success, bring you probably satisfaction in the things that you do. What the researcher, the author said, what the author found is that people that have a fixed mindset tend to be easy quitters. They, start something, if they, first sign of trouble, they're like, well, this isn't just for me. I don't like feeling like a failure. I want to go do something where I feel like I'm good at it, so I can kind of get that satisfaction from success. And that's not really always a bad thing. Sometimes if you have a growth mindset and you think that you can be good at everything, you don't really know when to stop. So, it's probably good to have a little bit of that. But the author is obviously talking about the benefits of having more of a growth mindset. And the interesting thing, I thought, is that it does seem to be something that you're kind of born with, having a growth or a fixed mindset. Kind of like how I mentioned earlier in another video, being an introvert and extrovert is really something that's probably that you're born with that trait. But just like being an introvert or extrovert, that doesn't mean that you're, if you're a fixed mindset, that doesn't mean that that's anything negative towards you. That's just something that you should be aware of in things that, you want to accomplish. Don't be so turned off by failure. Don't take it as a judgment of your character if you don't do something well right off the bat. And that's what the author kind of found, is that people that have a fixed mindset, they tend to go only towards things where they think they'll succeed because they want to feel like they're good at that thing. They don't want to, take on something that might be a challenge to them because they don't want to fail, because they feel if they fail, then that's a representation of who they are. Versus somebody who has a growth mindset, if you fail at something, you think that you have the capacity to get better. So you put in more work and, you just kind of keep pushing through. So even if you're, this may be a big jump and this may not be proven, but even if you're kind of born or you have a fixed mindset early on, you can still foster that growth mindset by first being aware that, if there is a setback or a failure, that's not a representation of who you are. You can actually get better at something if you put in the work. We've got endless examples of that. But if you want to know more, as always, if I recommend a book, I suggest you go pick up the book. It's called Mindset by Carol Dweck. It's a really interesting read. And I think it's really interesting. I don't have kids, but I think it's really interesting if you do have kids, you're a parent, because she gives you a lot of examples where you can help foster that growth mindset when you're raising children. She was also a professor, so she dealt with people, in their education, and she dealt with people that were trying to grow and develop. And, she learned, and she had personal examples where people will come into her class maybe with a fixed mindset, But because she knew how to not manipulate, how she knew how to work with that, she was able to kind of build a growth mindset into these people. So of course they're going to be better off because of it. So I think it's really important for people that have kids, like I said, because how you treat that kid, whether they're succeeding or maybe not doing so well, can have an impact on their psychology. And I'm obviously not a psychologist, so I can't give any advice on here. But like I said, do pick up the book if you're interested in the subject, because I think it can be very useful for parents and other people out there. That's it for today. Take care, y'all.